The passing of Queen Elizabeth II marked the end of an era. For decades, her steady hand had been the guiding force of the British monarchy, and her death left a gaping hole not just in the royal family, but in the hearts of millions worldwide. Her reign had seen great moments of triumph, along with profound personal and political challenges. She had lived through wars, global upheavals, and personal tragedies, yet her calm demeanor had remained a constant symbol of strength and endurance. But as the world mourned, another story, hidden beneath the surface, was just beginning to unfold, one that threatened to alter the future of the monarchy forever. From the very moment Queen Elizabeth passed, whispers began circulating within the royal household. There were rumors of a secret meeting among the senior members of the royal family, something that had never been seen before. With King Charles ascending the throne, everyone wondered what the next phase of the monarchy would look like. However, no one expected what was about to come to light, especially not in the form of the Queen's will. The world, it seemed, was not prepared for the revelations that were about to shake the very foundation of the royal family. As the royal family gathered for the reading of Queen Elizabeth II's will, it was clear that the stakes were higher than anyone had anticipated. The reading of the will was not just a mundane legal proceeding, it was a carefully orchestrated moment, one filled with heavy significance. The royal family had gathered in the drawing room of Buckingham Palace, the same palace that had housed generations of monarchs, a place where so many decisions had been made that shaped the course of history. But today, it was about to be the setting of a drama that no one could have predicted. Everyone in the room could feel the weight of the moment, as if each word spoken in that room could forever change their lives. The first shock came when it was revealed that the Queen had named Prince Andrew, the disgraced son of the royal family, as the one to read her final wishes aloud. For years, Andrew had been at the center of one of the most scandalous episodes in royal history. His association with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein had caused an irreparable rift between him and the monarchy, leading to his eventual removal from royal duties. His public image had been tarnished beyond repair, and many assumed that he had been written out of the royal narrative entirely. But Queen Elizabeth's decision to have him read her will was nothing short of a mystery. Was this an act of redemption? Or was it a far more complex maneuver, one that only she could have understood? As Prince Andrew stepped forward, his hands trembling ever so slightly, the room fell into a profound silence. His voice cracked as he began to read, and there was something almost tragic in the way he spoke, an undercurrent of sorrow mixed with something more complicated, perhaps a yearning for approval, or a desperate desire to prove his worth once again. Each sentence he uttered seemed to carry with it the weight of centuries of royal tradition, but also the burden of the family's collective guilt, shame, and unresolved tensions. When the first piece of news was revealed, an unexpected and potentially controversial decision about the distribution of the Queen's estates, the air in the room seemed to grow heavier. Sandringham Estate, a property that had been the Queen's personal retreat for decades, was not being passed down to King Charles, as many had assumed. Instead, the Queen had chosen to leave it to her daughter, Princess Anne. This was a revelation that sent shockwaves through the royal family. Sandringham had long been regarded as one of the most cherished properties of the royal family, and many had assumed that it would naturally pass to the next in line to the throne. But in a decision that raised eyebrows across the nation, it was Anne who would inherit this symbolic piece of the monarchy's history. Princess Anne had long been seen as the most pragmatic and devoted member of the royal family, and her commitment to royal duty was beyond reproach. But this bequest was not just a gesture of maternal affection. No, this was something deeper. Sandringham was not just a home, it was a powerful symbol of the monarchy's connection to the land and to the people. And in leaving it to Anne, the Queen was sending a message, one that could be interpreted in many ways. Was this a way of signaling her trust in Anne's ability to preserve the monarchy's traditions? Or was it a subtle critique of her eldest son, King Charles? Was this the Queen's way of indicating that she saw in Anne the true heart of the royal family, someone who could carry the monarchy into the future without compromising its core values. The shock didn't end there. Another bombshell followed soon after. Balmoral Estate, the Queen's beloved Scottish retreat, was also being bequeathed in a manner that seemed to favour Princess Anne over her brother. It seemed as though the Queen was deliberately distancing King Charles from the very properties that had been central to the royal family's private life. Why would she do this? Was it because she felt Charles was too distant from the monarchy's deep-rooted traditions? Or was it because she feared he would modernize the monarchy in ways that would be detrimental to its legacy? The room was thick with tension as Prince Andrew read on, his voice echoing off the walls of the room. And then, the true weight of the Queen's final wishes was revealed in the most unexpected way. The Queen's personal jewelry collection, which included some of the most iconic pieces in royal history, was to be divided among her children and grandchildren. But it wasn't just the value of the jewelry that mattered, it was the symbolism behind each piece. The Queen's most prized possession, the Vladimir tiara, would be passed down to none other than Princess Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge. This was not just a family heirloom, it was a statement. The Vladimir tiara had been worn by the Queen herself during some of the most significant moments of her reign. It was the tiara she wore when she hosted heads of state, when she delivered speeches to the nation, and when she represented the monarchy at its most formal occasions. And now, it would belong to Catherine. For those who understood the power dynamics of the royal family, this was an explosive decision. Catherine, who had long been seen as the future of the monarchy, was now granted the ultimate symbol of royal authority and responsibility. The tiara was not merely a beautiful piece of jewelry, it was a message to the world that Catherine had been anointed as the new symbol of the monarchy's future. But was this the Queen's endorsement of Catherine's role as the future consort to King William? Or was it a signal that the monarchy's future lay with the younger generation, the ones who could adapt the monarchy for a modern world while still honoring its long traditions? But the most shocking twist came at the very end, when Prince Harry, whose relationship with the royal family had been publicly strained for years, was named in the will. Despite his public departure from royal duties and his controversial statements in interviews, the Queen had left him a deeply symbolic gift, a ceremonial sword that had once belonged to his great-grandfather, King George V. The sword, which had been passed down through generations of royals, symbolized not only royal authority, but also military honor. The Queen's decision to pass it on to Harry was a perplexing one. What did this gesture mean? Was it a final act of reconciliation? Or was it a way of signaling that, despite all that had transpired, Harry was still part of the family, a family that, for better or worse, could never fully escape its past? The room fell silent as the reading of the will concluded. The royal family, still processing the bombshells that had just been dropped, exchanged uneasy glances. The Queen's final wishes had not only shocked them, they had fundamentally changed the way they saw one another, the monarchy, and their roles within it. Every decision she had made, from the inheritance of the estates to the passing of her personal jewelry, had been a message, one that would reverberate through the halls of Buckingham Palace and across the world for years to come. As the family left the room, each of them was left with a deep, unsettling question. What did the Queen truly mean with her final decisions? Was this a carefully crafted plan to ensure the survival of the monarchy? Or had the Queen set in motion a series of events that would tear her family apart in the end? One thing was certain, the future of the British royal family would never be the same. But this is only the beginning. As secrets unfold, alliances shift, and power struggles intensify, the monarchy's future is anything but certain. What do you think? Was the Queen's will a masterstroke of royal diplomacy, or a time bomb waiting to explode? Leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive insights into the royal family's most intimate affairs. The story has just begun.